All right, everybody, thanks for joining us for week 4 of One Another. We're here for the sole purpose of others. We're learning to connect and love others. We're getting reminders what this life is all about. Society is constantly training us to look at ourselves, to think about ourselves, to worry about ourselves. It's amazing how quickly we can lose perspective at times and live lives that revolve around ourselves. These weeks have been great reminders and a good time to refocus. Today we're going to focus on reaching others for Christ. We're going to be talking about a tool that is extremely important to living and communicating the gospel in the culture today, and that is hospitality. Hospitality, seriously, like, can I offer you some bruschetta? Like that hospitality? More and more in our culture today, people are skeptical. People are exposed to an unreal amount of information each day. How much is true? How much is deceiving? How much of it is propaganda? We get hundreds of emails. We see advertisements as we drive on the highway. You talk about something you're interested in, and 2 minutes later, you see it on Facebook. With all that information all the time, people are constantly having to evaluate who's communicating. Is what they're saying important for me? Do I trust this person? From our culture today, we're not starting relationships from a place of trust. People need to trust you before they trust what you have to say. That's earned, and that can be earned through hospitality. 1 Peter 4:9 says, offer hospitality to one another without grumbling. And I think grumbling is the key word that sticks out to me in that verse. It's kind of like that verse is saying, be loving and kind to others and don't complain about it. It seems like an odd thing to throw together, yet I think it serves as a warning. It's a big heads up that this is going to take lots of effort. To me, it's kind of like playing defense in basketball. Everybody knows you need it. Everybody thinks it's a great idea. However, few put in the effort. When I look back at my long and glorious career of JV basketball at Blue Springs High School, the original, there are a few things I remember. One, we dominated South. And second, players never complained when a coach said, all right, team, let's work on our three-point shots. However, when defense was mentioned, there were some grumbles that happened underneath our breath. Why? Because we knew what was coming, some serious effort. And that's how it is with hospitality. Everybody knows you need it. Everybody thinks it's a great idea. Few put in the effort. And so what does that effort look like? One, it starts with dedicated time. Remember the parable of the lost sheep? Jesus tells a story of a shepherd having 100 sheep. One of them got lost, so what does the shepherd do? He takes the time, leaves the 99, and goes after the one. We need to be the people who leave the 99 sheep in search of the one lost sheep. Our time should reflect that. Life gets naturally busy, work gets busy, chores and things to fix around the house, laundry, kids have sports, and sports can quickly take over. Our calendars fill up quickly. If showing hospitality is just given our leftover times, then we will never live the life Jesus intended. So how can you make space for others? Maybe it's reserving a night a week to have a family over. Maybe it's putting hospitality on the calendar before other things. Maybe it's making a goal of how many people you'll have over for a meal in a month. Get specific. One thing is clear, it doesn't happen naturally. It's intentional. Remember, this is going to take a lot of effort. The worst thing you could say to a family is, hey, we should get together sometime, because soon afterwards they'll say, sure, and then nothing happens. What's far better is standing there in the moment, pulling out your calendar, find a time in that moment, get specific, and put it down. Let's look at the very next verse after 1 Peter 4:9, where it says to show hospitality without grumbling. 1 Peter 4:10 says each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. So when it comes to hospitality, you need to play your game. When a basketball team doesn't play to their strengths or simply tries to mimic another team, things go bad. If you mimic your team's strategy after the Golden State Warriors, it's probably not going to go well for you unless you have Steph Curry on your team. You have to play to your strengths. The same is true of hospitality. If I buy a magazine subscription to Better Homes and Gardens in an effort to take my seasonal decorating to the next level, things are going to go very badly for me. My mother reigns supreme when it comes to cooking and hosting parties. And there was one party she hosted where she made 17 homemade pies from scratch. 17. 1-7. I once tried to cook 17 hamburgers and invented some type of meaty, crispy outside creation where there was a cold popsicle inside. When I try and play someone else's game, things go very wrong. Now, what my family has done is spend a lot of time in the front yard playing. Anna would set up a bounce house in our yard for when the kids came over, when the kids came home on the bus from school. Kids just stayed and played. Kids started naturally hanging out and playing. Lots of kids. And we just made it a habit, and we're able to meet tons of kids and tons of parents. There was one time Anna and I couldn't make it home right away. So my parents were going to get the kids off the bus. And I came home a half an hour later, and there's my parents hanging out in the yard with 15 kids. And they were like, oh, what is going on? Toys were everywhere. Kids were looking for snacks in my pantry. It was awesome. But that was playing to our strengths. My mom's strengths, 17 pies. 17. Now, lately, I've been playing a lot of basketball in the front yard with the kids, and neighbors will descend down the streets when they hear basketball start bouncing. Basketball has led to many conversations, invites to church, and meals. Extremely simple meals. So play to your strengths. 17 pies. Seriously. Okay, third, dictate play. Ephesians 5:15 and 16 says, be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. The best basketball teams never let teams come to them and dictate what kind of game it's going to be. Fast, slow, aggressive. No, they dictate play. They make things happen. Many times you need to make things happen. Many times people aren't looking to make new friends. If you sit back and wait for someone to come to you, it will probably just never happen. You need to go to others. Have you ever had someone just come up to you and say, hey, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you think about Jesus? No, a lot of times we need to introduce ourselves, pursue others, step out of our comfort zones. Remember, this is going to take a lot of effort, and a lot of these opportunities are going to be on the go. When we get focused on our schedules and task lists, many times we can have a narrow focus on what we're doing in the moment and miss opportunities that God has placed right in front of us. Sometimes the best opportunities for hospitality come in unexpected and probably inconvenient moments. These are the moments when we could probably be tempted to grumble. And these are the moments that probably kill our productivity and throw off our schedules. But this is also what our lives should be about. We need to learn to seek out these moments. Our life should be about one another. So to summarize for today, we need to build and earn trust with people. And that is done through loving and investing in those around us. Hospitality is key to that. And it helps people see the gospel lived out. But it doesn't happen naturally. It takes effort. And that effort involves 1, dedicate time. Are you being purposeful with your time? Are you prioritizing others? 2, play your game. How can you naturally hang out with those around you? All it takes is having a reason for a conversation. And 3, dictate play. We need to take advantage of the time God has given us. This isn't a time to sit back and wait for people to come to us. We need to put in the effort and pursue relationships, pursue others, introducing yourself, inviting someone over for a meal at a specific time, grabbing coffee, taking advantage of the moments that are inconvenient. Thank you guys so much for doing whatever it takes to reach others for Christ. Work through some of these questions with your group as you get specific on what hospitality looks like for you practically and how you can more faithfully live out the Great Commission.